Sometimes the devil tries turn me around. Keep pressing on, 'cause my soul is heavy bound. My soul is heaven bound.
'What is the deal? What is going on? What is happening with the Raider family, man? You are back for another episode, another live of the Raider Rundown. And finally, we have made it through the off season. It is a game week. We finally got some football action this week. We going to the Seattle Seahawks home turf, right? And we got to do some stomping. But before we lead into all that, of course, we got to give you the rundown on everything that's going on before we get into the game. And of course, we got a very, very special guest in the building to do that. So without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's stop all the talking and let's get this show on the road. So let's get this funky music cracking and let's get this show on the road. What is going on? What is happening with my Raider family, man? You are back for another episode here of the Raider Rundown, man. Y'all already know what time it is. Make sure you guys are tapping one on the like and the subscribe button, man. It helps your boy out greatly. We're trying to get to that 3K, man. It's our third season doing this Raider content stuff. So, hey, 3 for 3, man. We got to get third season, 3K, man. But y'all already see the title of today. Y'all already know what time it is, man. We got football to talk about this week. We finally got a game. We got, news, trade news, a lot of things to get into, man. So without further ado, before we really dive deeper into that, y'all see what it is. We got a very special guest in the building, man. We're gonna go ahead and bring him to the stage, man. He is 1/3 of the Raider War Room, but also, man, doing this thing solo, man. Y'all see him, former coach as well, man. But we're gonna bring one of the very good friends of the channel on, man. None other than our guy 805 in the building, man. What's going on, big dog? How you feeling?
What's happening, Rundown, man? I appreciate you letting me roll in with you a little bit. Hey, it's game week. It's game week. We got a game tomorrow, man. And so jumping on here and chopping up with you. And obviously, like you said, I'm part 1/3 of the Raider War Room. So we rock out, when we do. But when I get a chance to kind of jump on with some of the other guys around the scene, man, I try to take advantage of it. But you know how it is, man. You got a little one. I got 3 kids of my own, man. Sometimes it's hard to make time, but when I do get time, I definitely like to jump on. So I appreciate you. Let me roll through with you.
Of course, man. Of course. I mean, I didn't think of any other guest to have besides you, man. Especially first game week. You know what I mean? We can really get into the weeds about everything that we might see. Speaking of the little one, man, it's his first Raider action tomorrow, so I'm very excited.
There you go.
For him. Yeah, very excited for him to see what's going on tomorrow. But before we get into anything, right? Like to do a little segment here on the show, man. Just to give a shout out to all the people that's in the chat real quick, if you don't mind. So real quick, before we get into anything, I like to start with the first segment, which is get a little roll call, man. A little shout out to all the people that's in here, man, tapping in with us on this Wednesday afternoon, man. First of all, where's the flag in here representing? Appreciate you for showing up and showing out as you always do, man. Thank you. Huey P in the building. What up, family? What up, Huey P? Sacktown Raider Mike. What's going on, big dog? Marcus Banks in the building. What's going on? Delano, for real. What station does the game come on? That is a good question. What station does the game come on?
I ain't got to worry about it because I'm local here. So I live in the Vegas area, so it's always on. So
hey, I'll tell you what, it is always on the pirated websites. All right, so
exactly.
Go ahead and bring one of those up for sure. If you can't find it on one of the locals, it should be on NFL. I'm not gonna.
I think it's Thursday night, so it should be on the NFL Network. I would assume.
Yeah. First NFL action, you know what I mean? So I would think they have it on the NFL Network. But if not, go ahead, pirate that thing. I know what it is. Who else we got up in here, man? We got Alec M, man. What up, Alec M? What's the deal, big dog? How you feeling? What, man? Dre for show in the building. What's going on, Dre? Glad you here, man. Raider Ben, what's the deal, big dog? What's happening, bro? Xavier Foster in the building. What's good with you, bro? What's good? Mario Jr. What's happening with you, man? Hope you good, man. Terrence Jr. It's NFL Network. Okay, we good. I do feel bad for you East Coasters, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. 7 o'clock out here, it's brutal, but 10 o'clock start for y'all, that's wild, bro. That is wild.
The worst, because I know you lived kind of close to the East Coast, right? Didn't you live like Georgia? Something like that for a minute?
Yep.
So I was in when I lived in Texas. I'm telling you, night games were rough, especially when you have a little one when they first pop out, and you got like a 1-month-old and 3-month-old, and all of a sudden Monday Night Football ain't popping off till 8 o'clock, and you want to go watch it somewhere, and you telling the wife, hey, I'll be back around 11:30. She's like, for a football game. And when you're from the West Coast, the wife, she doesn't pay attention to football, so she doesn't put that together. She's like, wait a second, no. Back when we were home, you came home at like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
Exactly.
Now you telling me 11 o'clock? So I had to prove to her that nothing crazy was going on.
Hey, shout out to my guy Raider Trey, man. We had a little debate, and I'll bring it up on here because I like to know the answer. What is a better start time for everybody, right? When you're watching football Sunday, is it the 10 o'clock crowd in the mornings, or is it that 1 o'clock afternoon crowd? Because I had this whole debate on Twitter. It's not even a debate for me. It's 10 o'clock all day, all night.
What do you mean by that? Like the crowd?
So my guy Raider Trey on Twitter is from Georgia, I believe, or North Carolina or whatever. So they got a 1 o'clock start time, right? So for our 10 o'clock, it's 1 o'clock. And for them, the last game don't end until like, yeesh. You damn near looking at 9, 10 o'clock out there. Like that's really when the last game ends, almost 11. Out here, by 8 o'clock, we done. You know what I mean? By 8 o'clock, we going to bed. We watching something else for real.
Let's do this. Now that I'm older, I'm cool with the 10 o'clock start time. So
Oh,
I'm cool
yeah.
with 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, I hated the 10 o'clock start times. Man, after the
Really?
Friday nights, going out, drinking, having a good time, and now you got to wake up and get back to the bar at 10 o'clock in the morning for a game. That was rough. I'm not going to lie. So, but when I was in Texas, the 12 o'clock kickoff, which was basically our morning games on the West Coast,
Right.
that was money because it gave me time to get up, eat a good breakfast, even get the barbecue started a little bit. If people were coming over, now you ready to rock at 12 o'clock? I didn't mind the 12 o'clock games in Texas.
I can see like if you hosted, you know, I need a little time to get it together.
Exactly.
Now that I will say that living in Georgia, I had enough prep time before the game for me to be like, all right, I can grab my food and all that. You don't get no prep time in Cali. You got to wake up and you got to get straight to it. Brush your teeth and get to it.
Exactly. It's key.
So y'all let me know down below, man. I see a couple answers, but what's the better start time for football, man? Are we looking at the Pacific or are we looking at that East Coast time, man? I see a couple, but y'all let me know, man, down below, because we getting close to it. I'm used to, you know, because I'm from out here, so I'm used to waking up at 10 o'clock. Dad already on the grill, you know what I mean? He been up since 7 o'clock, already on the grill with the ribs and all the extra. So I'm already used to that. That's kind of how I came up watching ball.
Now I will say, moving back to the West Coast, and I had it in Texas. I went in Texas, but when I moved out here, because obviously with the 10 o'clock kickoffs, that's when I went and invested in one of those 36-inch Blackstones.
Ooh,
you can actually do breakfast on.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, okay. Now it just gave me a reason to wake up at like 7:30 in the morning, make sure I get a good breakfast in and get ready for football, 10 a.m. kickoff. Ooh. And so, again, but that's when I get older. Back in the day, that won't happen.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie, 805. This is my preseason too. I got my dad grill for the first time. So I'm gonna be trying it out this season. You know what I mean? See what I can do when I wake up and all that. I'm getting 100%. Older, so I definitely gotta get the grill fired up. So we got some news to talk about, actually. You know what I mean? Before we even get into the preseason game, we had a nice little bit of news happen to us over the past couple days, man. The Raiders ended up making a move. You know what I mean? And ended up trading away, I would say, I don't know how to really describe the piece, right? It was puzzling. I'd say a very puzzling piece to their roster in Jakorian Bennett. We didn't really know where he was fitting in. But and acquire a new DT. How are you feeling about the trade? Number one, of course, I watched you and the guys yesterday kind of explain it as well. But for the people here that may not have seen you guys, how do you feel about the trade, man? Just overall, what's your thoughts?
So I think one way to kind of start it is sometimes when we talk about like Jakorian Bennett, right? We're like, hey, man, I did not want to move off of Jakorian Bennett. I didn't want to move off of him, blah, blah, right? Like when people say that, they automatically assume we're thinking that he is a slotted starter, right? We want to keep him because he's going to be a starter. And for me, I didn't look at it that way. I want to take a look at what is his ceiling. Mm-hmm. We knew what his ceiling was last year, right? Yes, injuries happen, all that stuff. What's his ceiling and what's his contract look like? Right now, he's still on a rookie contract. He's just a shy over $1 million to play in the 2025 season. But we knew what his ceiling was, potentially. And then you look at, if we move on from him, what does the rest of the cornerback room look like? Eric Stokes, you got question marks, right? Yes, a lot of people are talking that guys are looking pretty good at a training camp, and that remains to be seen. Preseason is going to weed out and tell the truth about some of these players. And so Eric Stokes, question mark. Darian Porter, massive question mark. He may look good, but he also has not had a lot of experience at the cornerback position. And one of the biggest transitions from college to pros is the cornerback position. And so sometimes cornerbacks don't transfer very well. Jakorian Bennett didn't transfer year one. Then he kind of took off year two. And so still a lot of question marks to Darian Porter. And then behind that, you got DC Richardson. We all know what we saw. Reports are coming out that he's doing okay, but again, you might find a short or a highlight randomly, and it's like, well, when he's guarding the number 3 receiver, how good is that highlight really? And so you really aren't going to really know what these guys are until preseason hits. You give them some really quality time against some players that are fighting for positions. And so let's just say 2 of our starters don't work out. DC Richardson kind of shows what he was last year. Then you look behind that, it's a bunch of undrafted free agents. It's Sam Webb.
Yeah. What's his name? Greedy Vance. Over there.
To me, I just felt like having a guy that has experience, that we know what the ceiling is. We also have a head coach that's known for developing defensive backs.
Right.
And if you can develop defensive backs and you keep a guy just in case, and he's not going to be sitting on the sideline wasting $12 million, right? He's going to be on the sideline for $1 million. And he's basically, if he doesn't find himself starting, he's at least a decent insurance policy to know if someone does go down or one of these new free agents or our rookie just has a really slow start and maybe struggles a little bit, then at least you have somebody that potentially can fight and battle and take that position and potentially help this defense. But and I guess 2 other points. One is we always talk about iron sharpens iron. We always talk about competition. If you got a guy that showed what he showed last year at your heels and fighting for a starting position, he's going to force some of these corners to really up their game a little bit.
100%.
And in addition, we got a lot of question marks when it comes to slot corner, the nickel corner. And I think Jakorian Bennett could have went down there and played in potentially the nickel corner and battled for that spot, if that was even looked at. But at the very least, I look at him as not a potential starter. I look at him as very inexpensive rookie contract that has a high upside.
Right.
And to replace him with a D tackle that a lot of people talked about, we could talk more about the D tackle, but we drafted 2 D tackles. I want to see those guys, those young guys, get some reps in practice, potentially get some rotational play in the games to help them develop and get the most out of your draft picks, because successful teams that have sustained success build through the draft.
100%.
And 100%. So I that's why I wasn't a fan of it. Again, not because I thought Jakorian Bennett was to come here and steal the show and be a starter, but I thought without question he would be a damn good depth piece to provide competition and keep these corners working their ass off.
Right. And look, it's documented for me, right? It's documented for Rundown. I was not the biggest Jakorian fan. I wasn't. When it came to, Chris and Leo and all them, I was always on the other side. I didn't like the injury history, you know what I mean? And I still didn't know what we had, because we're coming off of 1 year where the rookie year was not good. I mean, we knew that. But then we coming off the second year where it was pretty good. You know what I mean? So I wanted to see what met in the middle. And I was always kind of, weary because I knew Pete had his preferences of corners, right? I know a lot of people didn't want to buy into that, but as soon as he got rid of Jack Jones early, and that was like real quick, I was like, okay, he's probably kind of coming in here revamping. And then when you look, he done got rid of Nate Hobbs, got rid of Jack Jones, got rid of Jakorian Bennett, right? All guys that kind of fit the same mold that he didn't really bring in here. So
I had one thing is there's a ton of reports now coming out that Pete Carroll was trying to trade Jakorian Bennett prior to training camp, which means all you did was you saw him in involuntary workouts,
right?
Which means it didn't seem like Pete Carroll really cared about what Jakorian Bennett looked like.
No,
he was ready to move on from him, and he wanted his guys in there. And so that also tells me you kind of fucked around with Howie Roseman. He might have got himself a piece. If Pete Carroll wanted to move on before training camp, before all that, that's just again, that's tough to swallow.
And you let me know 805, but look, see, this is like, and because sometimes it seems like when you look for the cracks in the armor, it looks like you're trying to be negative, but at the end of the day, you got to call a spade, right? It's like when you trade with the Eagles #1, you always got to be weary about what what Roseman is thinking about doing. You always got to be weary. And #2, he's just not going to get rid of a D-line piece for no reason. He's just not going to do that. There's no way. He's too smart of a GM for him to say, oh, yeah, he is. Yeah, we might need him. And then just get rid of him. He's not going to do that. So I kind of think we got a lemon in the deal. I'm not going to lie to you. I think we got a lemon. Now, I just watched this film. I'm not excited about what I saw. I'm going to be honest with you.
To me, honestly, he feels like a project, and you got to take a look at, okay, they moved on from him, right? You move on from him for a reason. If we're sitting in, if you're the one that's sitting in the boat going, man, love seeing us get off the train of Jakorian Bennett, but man, I love picking up this interior defensive tackle. It's like, but we just got rid of a piece, and so did Philly. And Philly got rid of a piece for the same exact reason probably we did. It's just you didn't see the value in the guy.
Yeah, this ours is a little different. Where, see, I knew something was fishy in camp when he wasn't starting like off rip. I'm like, okay, they just told us as a fan base, hey, we just combed through the film, right? When they first got here, they was like, hey, we combed through the whole film. We got to watch everybody. And then as soon as they got on the grass, your boy's not starting. I was like, okay, it's a little weird, right? That's a little weird. Now how that bolds into it, I don't know. I feel like it was more of a Pete already knew he didn't like Jakorian, so he wasn't really trying to waste no time with it. And that I don't know if that bolds into the I don't think he's talented type of thing. More as long as I think Philly got rid of Booker because they really don't see value. That's what I feel like that.
It's also taking a look at what did Philly do in the draft. And they actually picked up one of my favorite defensive linemen out of the draft out of Nebraska, Ty Robinson.
Oh, did they?
So
okay.
I was a fan of Ty Robinson. They picked him up in the 4th round. And if you look at their depth chart, he's now slotted right behind. Who's that big boy that they picked up? I think it was a couple years ago. Oh, I got his name right here. Oh, no. Never mind. Wrong depth chart. But they picked up the Jordan Davis from Georgia. So and the Eagles like to run that 3-4 defense, right? And so they like to have a big guy in the middle. I'm not saying Ty Robinson's a big guy, but he's slotted right behind him. So they picked up Ty Robinson in the 4th round, which tells me they're able to. That guy was dispendable. That guy was not beating out potentially a rookie or even somebody behind him. And so if this guy couldn't beat out the rookie, again, I've watched some clips of the guy. My first initial thought is just he's a project. He's a project. Yes. Maybe he could have high upside with good coaching, but that can be said for a lot of people. And I see one comment, Joseph C. says Lane Johnson thinks Thomas Booker could be a Pro Bowler. That's fine. The players can come out and say that. That's perfectly fine.
Will he be is the question. I mean, that's a great endorsement, but you know what I mean? We don't know what's going to happen here. I'm telling you, I just got off watching this film. But before we dive deep into that, I want to stay on Jakorian real quick and stay with the corners because we're going to dive deep. Don't y'all worry. We're going to dive deep into the DT room. We're going to get into the weeds. But we're going to talk about the corners first because we got rid of a corner. And you would think that they think, hey, we're set here, right? We have the corners for the season. I'm not mad at Darian Porter getting out there because, hey, I want to figure it out early, to be honest with you. I mean, like you said, it does, that's one of the harder positions to come in here and play in the NFL. But if you got it, you got it. And you'll show some signs, right? And you'll show some signs early. So I want to see that from him. Eric Stokes, we'll see. He's kind of, I guess you would say, like resurgence of his career because he's been kind of injury riddled throughout his career, except for last year. So we'll see with that. But it is shaky. I ain't gonna lie, because you telling me our next man up in the platoon is DeCamerion Richardson. Say what you want. I don't have that much faith there, 805. I fear if we're week 2, he out there. Oh, hey man, Quentin Johnston gonna go for another 200 yards, dog. I'm gonna lose my mind. I'll lose my mind.
And again, it's you don't want to let a guy go like Jakorian Bennett when you need depth. Point. I saw that. Shout out to Chris. When our depth, it's not looking at just Darren Porter and Eric Stokes. It's looking at the depth, and at $1 million, like that's the best question you can ask to the chat or anybody is, would you keep Jakorian Bennett on knowing that our depth is extremely questionable with DCAM and a bunch of undrafted free agents? Would you keep Jakorian Bennett at $1 million? If you say no, you're wild. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. So
$1 million, man. And look, let's keep it frank. Okay, let's keep it frank. With this DT room, You talked about the rookies and brought up a very good point. So now we can start getting into the DTs. But you brought up the rookies in a very good point. I want to see them play, right? I want to see them get out there and do their thing. This move here creates another obstacle in seeing Pegues and then get out there. As of right now, I see them in the third, fourth string. They're not even second string. They already have Booker slotted in as the second string. He just got here last night on the red eye. So that worries me. I'm not gonna lie to you. That already worries me. Where you get somebody immediately and there's somebody else's fourth string. And say what you want, I get it. He was behind Jalen Carter. He was behind Jordan Davis. So was Milton Williams. And he ended up getting a big bag from the Patriots. So I don't want to hear that. If you're like that, you're going to find your way on the field and do that, right? So I don't know. I feel like we're always, as a fan base, we're excited when we get somebody else's table scraps and all of a sudden they look like gourmet to us. You know what I mean? I like, come on, bro. He was somebody else's fourth string, and now he coming here immediately as our second string, and that don't ring no alarms to no one. So that's bad to me.
And here's the thing is we're bringing in multiple interior defensive linemen. It's the second interior. We traded for one, and then we acquired a free agent just last week, when the whole Christian Wilkins stuff went down. And so that tells me there's going to be a true rotation. That's fun. I love competition, and if Thomas Booker can come in with the interior front that we have, right, with Adam Butler, Max on one side, Coots on the other side, that extra interior defensive lineman. You want to be a stud, obviously, but you need him to be good enough not to hurt you, right? He's not going to get moved off his spot. He's not going to get washed down the line of scrimmage. You want him to be able to sustain that line of scrimmage and at a minimum not hurt you, especially in the situation that we're in, especially when we thought we were going to have Christian Wilkins. And Jonah Laulu can do that. You know, he's a guy that can come in and play. He's not going to hurt you as much as he's going to benefit you. Leaky Fotu was in a walking boot, so we just don't know kind of what the situation is there. So, you know, if Thomas Bergen can come in and, you know, prove that he's just not going to hurt you, which based on his game film, I think he is a project, then okay, that's fine. But I still have more question marks at the corner position, and I'd much rather see that competition with Jakorian Bennett there. And so, as I think Jonah Laulu, Leaky Fotu, and then let someone like JJ Pegues get some work. You know, maybe he can get 4 to 5 snaps a game and just really see what he can do. And not have to get rid of a player like Jakorian Bennett that could potentially help you if one of these corners don't work out and our depth is horrible. So again, that just kind of goes back to I'm not a big fan. It's not a big fan. Unfortunately,
I get you. I'm with you there because, you know, it's not about liking Jakorian Bennett and all of a sudden thinking he's Charles Woodson or anything like that. It's just maybe thinking this move probably was not needed. You know what I mean? That's just it. It's maybe unnecessary. Is where I'm looking at it, and I'm with 805, man. I legit. Y'all gonna watch it tomorrow. Y'all know what it is. Blunts and breakdowns. We got Thomas Booker film for you tomorrow, of course, and y'all gonna watch it live and in person. I agree. He's a project, dog. He has no pass rush moves to speak of right now. I mean, all I saw was a bull rush, and I'm talking about I watched that film at length, and he only showed a bull rush. That's it. So that's where I start to worry is like, where do y'all think that this pass rush is going to come from? Like, just because we have Max and Kuntz, like, that's it? That's all? Like, Adam Butler for sure is going to provide some interior pass rush. I agree. But when I look at it, I know you're worried about the corners, but to me, like, Butler's the only consistent guy that can win one-on-ones in our interior D-line.
And now Butler's going to get the double team like he did last year.
There you go. And
so we need that extra guy that's going to be able to fight off the one-on-ones and have an impact, right? And so, and to your point of what I watched of Thomas Booker, started doing my homework a little bit. Yeah, he's got the bull rush, but what Adam Butler did extremely well last year was he took on that double team, and you had guys on the interior that would basically stunt around him, right? Like,
yes,
Adam Butler was the one that actually took on the double team. You watch Thomas Booker try to be that stunt guy that loops around. He's not very good at it. And when we broke down game film last year, you take a look at some of the interior defensive linemen, especially someone like Tyree Wilson, where he is just so delayed. He seems like a robot trying to stunt inside, and it's not smooth, it's not quick, it's not fast. And that's what I see out of Thomas Booker. So if he gets that spot and he's the one in those stunts, because Patrick Graham likes to run it a lot, and if we continue to run a 4-man front, which it looks like we're going to, he does not run it well. So, he's a project. He's a big project.
Look, as far as the corners go, I'm going to I do give Pete a tad bit of grace. Tad. When it comes to corners, I've seen the the work, the body of work. So okay, I'll let you, especially with a guy like Darian Porter. I want to see that. I want to see what you can do with Eric Stokes. When it comes to the defensive line, that's different. That's a whole different beast for me, because I'm looking at it and it don't look good. I understand we only had Christian Wilkins for 5 games, right? I understand, but a lot of fans were woofing big talk, like 10 wins, 11 wins, when they thought he was going to come back. And that's different when you think you have a Pro Bowl caliber talent that's going to come back on the field at D-line. That's a whole different ball game. Now you can be confident in saying, hey, yeah, just throw them 5th and 6th round DTs out there and let's see what they can do. You know what I mean? Let's let them get their rhythm until our guy comes back. But that's not the case no more. We need these 5th and 6th round defensive tackles to actually play. And as of right now, it's not looking that good. Now, the anomaly, we all know who the anomaly is now. Tyree Wilson becomes ever more important now. He becomes ever more important. Even with this addition right here, he's still the most important player on that defensive line. I mean, what are you seeing, man? Do you think we're going to get some resurgence? We're going to get a breakout? Where are we at?
With Tyree Wilson, man, I hope he can, right? I don't have much faith and confidence that we're going to see it, only because what I've seen at Tyree Wilson, and when I started my channel and I posted a video on him really early in my days of doing this whole YouTube stuff. The part that bothers me is I don't think he's got the mentality to be a really good football player. I think he doesn't have the mindset to want it. And you look at it, he wasn't at the Sack Summit. He doesn't do the extra work. After practice, before practice, you never hear, maxxcrosby or any of the other players or coaches saying, man, he's really working and getting it in. You know what I'm saying? And so just look at he's one-dimensional. He still hasn't been able to develop a second move, a third move. He's just all bull rush, but also he's not very disciplined. That's the part that's really tough. And that's what I'm going to be watching for this preseason. Because if you remember last year's preseason game when we played against the Cowboys, and who's the quarterback for
Trey Lance.
When Trey Lance basically faked the handoff, booted back the other way, and Tyree Wilson just bit down on the run so bad. And from that point, I sat there and was like, shit, he's undisciplined. And so, and you continue to kind of see that. And so for me, at the end of the day, I struggle with whether or not he's going to have either just the mindset, the mentality to be a good football player, and the want to be a good football player. So, but I hope he can work out, because we need every bit of that 7th overall pick to produce some way, somehow. So, also what I'll add is I was at the open practice at Allegiant. A lot of people were talking about how he was actually looking a little bit better. He was quick.
I've heard a lot of talk. Please clear it up for us. Please.
And it's like, when you're going against their Mumford, that shouldn't really be playing tackle anyways, or Dalton Wagner. And if you go back and if you watch those clips closely, when he made an impact, he's kind of going a yard deep past the quarterback, getting his 7-foot wingspan out there, and he's hitting the quarterback with the hand. In real live game, that's a missed sack. So as much as it looked like he actually influenced the play and did something, the angle that he took, he basically took himself out of the play.
This is what I needed to hear. This is what I needed to hear, because there's a lot of talk 805, a lot of Cheeto be playing around, but talking about he had a swim move and all this extra, and I hear all the talk, but I need to see it culminate into something. I'm not going to sit here and believe he about to get no 10-sack season because of that.
Yeah. And so, at the end of the day, it's, again, I hope. Now, here's the thing, and I know we're going to talk about the preseason game, but one thing, when Tyree Wilson goes in and he gets his playing time, everybody, just take a quick second and identify who he's lined up against. Because if he beats the shit out of a third string tackle, I'm not going to be very impressed.
Thank you. Or if he starts getting slung around by Gray Zabel, then I'm going to start understanding where we're at in this development that we're speaking of.
Go ahead.
So
that's my take on Tyree.
No, I definitely get you. Real quick, before I go ahead and give my take, I want to ask this question to the chat, and I want to take some comments real quick because we've been rambling through the D-line. But is the Raiders D-line in trouble? I would like to know the answer to that question and how people think about this right now. Do you think the Raiders D-line should be looked at a little bit more closely? Do y'all think we're in trouble there? I'm starting to smell something that I don't like, something smelling funny on that D-line. And if we're just sitting here expecting 98 and 51 to get all the sacks, it's going to be a long season. It's going to be a long season. But I want to get to y'all real quick, man. How do y'all feel about the move? How y'all feeling about Thomas Booker? Let me see, man. Rosetown. I'm going at random. Y'all killing it with the comments. So appreciate y'all. But man, Bennett and Amik didn't have the measurements, but look at Amik last season. Shut down Jefferson. They dogs. Hey, and Bennett with Jamar Chase last year, from all intents and purposes, did his thing. So, Pete did have his preference. I would like to see like 805 him play in the slot. Maybe that could work, but I know Bennett's tackling wasn't the greatest. I know, so that was something we were worried about. Chris is right though. Had like the second most PBUs in the AFC before surgery. Correct. He can't take the ball away, can't tackle, and gets hurt. He
had some of the best stats as a corner in the AFC when he was healthy. We all saw it. Yeah, he did a very good job. He shut down Jamar Chase the time that we played him. He was. We're not saying he's the top corner, in the AFC, but he was enough to stay on this roster based on what we have as a true depth piece. And that's all we're talking about. Again, we're not talking about he's a day one, like he's a solidified starter. We're talking about depth at $1 million.
It's just maybe unnecessary move. That's it. Now, I understand maybe we needed DT help. Okay. Now, a lot of people say maybe, okay, we do this because we needed DT help, but then that doesn't really bode well for the dudes you just drafted. That doesn't tell me good news. That tells me you got to go outside the building to go find something that you don't have. So I don't know. That doesn't really spell anything good for me. But we'll see. We'll see. Of course, we hope we're wrong when it comes to this. I think the Eagles got a good DB. Bennett was our best man-to-man cover guy. He just couldn't tackle. I'll agree with this take. I do agree with this take. Yeah. He was our best man-to-man. Tackling was an issue. Maybe it was the shoulder. Maybe it wasn't.
I think the shoulder and some of the injuries affected his ability to just want to come up and actually hit somebody, I think. But
you could tell on the field, on the film, he definitely only used the one. He was not going in there with both shoulders.
Let's be real. It's cornerbacks, right? As soon as quarterbacks, like once you get an injury, you're there to cover defense, you're there to cover receivers and stuff. Like, you're gonna get judged if you don't actually, lay the shit out of somebody. But like, if you're hurting, you're gonna give the opposite shoulder a couple times.
Oh, for sure.
You might struggle with making the tackle.
For sure. Dre, for sure. Let the young dogs eat. I'm with that, man. I want to see all young players in there tomorrow, man. I want to see all the young dogs in there. Alec, AP did not get hired by Kansas City. He's just consulting like John Gruden was doing those. And we'll talk about it. Trust. I know all y'all was up in arms on that. What do you think about this comment right here by Omnicron? Booker is a true nose tackle, not a rusher.
So watching his film, I don't know if you can call him a true nose tackle. Yeah, I mean, he's undersized to call him a true nose tackle. That typical, 340 plus pound type of nose tackle. Basically like a Davis over there with the Eagles. And so that's a true nose tackle. A James Jenkins that we had last year, a true
he's a nose,
big body nose tackle. And so I just don't think he's a rusher because one, he basically has a bull rush, but it's not that effective.
No.
And when it does get caught, he gets stonewalled. And
there's nothing else. There is zero other secondary third moves that he has besides that bull rush right now. And which again, This would be different if we're talking about a dude that they got undrafted or like, you know what I mean? This is like maybe, going into his second year. He was drafted in 22. You know what I mean? The Eagles are his second team. This is not his first team. The Eagles are his second team. So let's keep that in mind too. This is not a dude that they just got off of waivers because he just missed the draft. Like, no, it's not that. It is not that situation. He is still young. I will give him that. He's young. He's like 25, 26 or whatever. But we'll see. We'll see. It's not like we got a Chase on, right? Where Chase on is a former first round pick, and you like, well, you probably can get something out of that with the right dude, right? Right environment, and lo and behold, you know what I mean? You look at what the talent actually is with Chase on. Well, he was a first round pick. This guy was a 5th round pick, right? So we're asking astronomical feats from people as of right now. We just got to understand what we're asking from them. Let me see. But if you were going to cut the player, might as well get someone for him. I do agree with that. If what you're saying is true, 805, where he was like, he didn't like him all the way through the spring. He already said he didn't like him. So, okay.
Yeah, that's tough. When reports come out saying that Pete was looking for a trade partner prior to training camp,
yeah,
that means that he was ready to just walk on. So if that was the case, then at least you got a piece for him, I guess. So
I agree. You know what I mean? If you were gonna just move on, then fuck it. Now we got somebody who says Jessime Potak, or Paddock, I believe that's how you say it. My bad if I put your name up. Not going to fall apart because Wilkins is not there. Yes and no. I mean, we weren't gonna have Wilkins, but at the end of the day, you have not replaced that talent. You have not replaced the level of player he is. I don't care what you have brought in here. I will bet y'all this. Booker, Pegues, and Hemingway all equate to the talent that Wilkins is right now. That's literally what it is. And that's not to say that they can't be better, but that's where we're at. You need 3 players to equate to what we just lost. So where is it equating that we're just going to all of a sudden replace that? It's not. That sometimes 805, I don't know, man. I think we put on these, when they put on the colors, all of a sudden, like how on Madden, when you buy the attribute boosts and the shit is like +5 and +6, they put on the colors, and the Raider fans, like, we get like a +10 to whoever the player is to their overall. They might be a 71, but when they get here, they're 81 to us. They look different to us. I don't know why we do this.
No, I'm with you. The one comment that, and not to derail it, one comment that I just cannot stand is when we talk and stuff, and someone comes in and says, "Oh, well, you must know more than the Raiders, or you should be the next GM," and it's just like, okay, so let's do this. Either you've been a Raider fan for 2 weeks,
right?
You don't know a damn thing about the game, and you don't know exactly what the Raiders have gone through the last 2 decades.
Thank you.
Or you're 5 years old. I don't know which one it is, but it's one of those 4. And if you can't be critical of what just any coaching staff does, at the end of the day, no one's perfect. Now, there are some teams, like, look, if we were content creators for the Eagles, Howie Roseman, I'm going to trust the process, big dog.
You feel what I'm saying?
You do your thing.
Like this. I don't care what we do. I don't care what it is.
But, look, we understand what our history is. And so it's like, and look, I literally dedicated the majority of my life to this game at playing and coaching level. And so it's one of those things where I've been watching it for a lot of years. And I'm not saying I'm always right, but I take that 80-20 rule. As long as I'm 80% right, I'm doing something right.
We're doing something right. You know what I mean? We're doing something right. And look, again, you can fan like that, but of course we got our channels. We can't just sheep it, you know what I mean? And just say everything that they do is good, because it's not. And especially with this organization, I've seen multiple instances where the fan base was right and the organization was wrong, especially being a Raider fan. I've seen multiple times fans, whatever it is, say, hey, we should probably make this move, or hey, this move was probably dumb. And lo and behold, right, the fans are right. It's happened multiple times. Like 805 said, if we had a regime that has showed us over the years that they know exactly what they're doing, well, then by all means, I mean, we got to sit back and let them do their job. But we ain't had that. we
No.
have not had that.
If you want to
So,
say
at the
that,
end of
then you know what? You've been a Raider fan for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, come on now. Trust the process. A lot, and that irritates me too. Trust what process, dog? I've heard this been 24 years of trusting the process. When the fuck am I supposed to get results at this point? I'm not trusting shit until I see it on the field, right? When they come on the field and we're winning games and we're really competitive, then hey, 805 and the war room and we'll all join up. We'll all get together and be happy about the film we watching. But
Absolutely.
Over the past 5 years, oh man, hey, 805, you can tell me because I know you do it. You turn on the film after a Raider game, it's a hard watch. It's a hard watch.
It's a hard watch. My wife for the longest time has been like, "You still watch that game film over and over again?" I'm like, "Yeah,
it's
what
a
I do."
hard watch, man. I mean, hey, look, but still we here. You know what I mean? So
Here.
look, all of the fan base has a right to speak on what this organization does until we're shown that, hey, we don't need this. We don't need fan input no more. You know what I mean? We got this. And then we're good. You know what I mean? But as of right now, we still got to make it work. So we're going to go back to this topic real quick, and then I want to get to the depth chart because there's some things on the offensive side that I would really like to speak to you about that's going on with our offensive line. It worries me there. But speaking on the Tyree subject, just wrapping this up, he is very important to this defensive line. And the thing that I'm scared about is that we're getting the old, wool over the eyes trick again. The old, and I remember with certain players, right? Divine Diablo, players other that you can name every off season. Oh man, the improvements he made. Oh man, look at him. He's lost this weight or he's added this weight. And now look. And then when you get into the games, it's like, well, where's this dude that you've been talking about the whole off season? And that's kind of where I'm at with Tyree because I remember very vividly last year. They talked about the same thing last year with Tyree. Hey, he looks improved. He looks like he kind of improved and added little things to his game. And then we watched the games and we said, what improvements did he make? Yeah. Where? So now I'm starting to – you went to the game on Saturday, right? So Elaborate us again. Did you see what people are telling me? Like, oh, yeah, no, he got back there. He was doing his thing.
Look, he does look a little bit quicker off the line. I'll admit that, right? When you watch him, he looks a little bit quicker off the line. You could tell that either he went from like a little trying to bulk up last year to slimming down a little bit, but he does look a little bit quicker. The thing is, the technique is still not there.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of times he overran the quarterbacks. A lot of times you also have to understand quarterbacks, they know they're not getting hit. So they're not stepping up the pocket like they usually do, right? And a lot of times that he did disrupt, again, like I was saying before, he got a 7-foot wingspan and kind of hit the quarterback's shoulder or disrupted the throwing arm of the quarterback. Well, that also shows that he took a really bad angle. And in a real game situation, that quarterback either steps up a little bit or that quarterback, yeah, you might disturb him, but you just ran past the quarterback. You overran the quarterback. And the problem is back in the day, when I'd coach the defensive ends or anybody that's blitzing off the edge, and I would always tell them, you rush to the depth of the quarterback. That's it. You don't rush deeper. Max gets himself in a problem sometimes.
He does that all the time. Yeah, he does that all the time.
So you rush to the depth of the quarterback. And so, because if you don't, and if you overrun it, you just completely you didn't contain that edge. The edge now the edge is soft, and so. But when you watched him, there was a couple plays where he was coming out. He was the defensive tackle. Ball carrier came his way, and he was there to make the hit. Didn't finish the tackle, but he made the hit. So, yeah, he flashed a little bit, but at the end of the day, I didn't see such wow plays that now made me think, oh shit, okay, something's clicked, and I didn't see that at all.
See, and what we need to understand, and I just said this not too long ago, what we need to understand is this: a small improvement from Tyree this year is not good enough. This year he needs to play like he was picked 7th overall, and that's a high feat. That's high, dog. We're talking about he's got to play like how we saw Jalen Carter damn near play last year. That's what we're talking about. And all of you, I get it, right? We don't want to be negative before the season starts. We don't want to do all this extra. But at the same time, I'm not going to go into a season and then all of a sudden be blindfolded by negativity because I was all blinded by positivity the whole time. No, we got to be realistic and meet in that gray middle area, right? So all of you, if you had to bet your bottom dollar, your last $10 in your pocket, whatever it was, your last dollar, you think Tyree Wilson's going to give us a season like Jalen Carter did last year? Just bet. It's a yes or no question. I don't want to hear nothing else but yes or no. If you had to bet your last bottom dollar, is Tyree Wilson going to give us a season like Jalen Carter did last year? Because that's how he has to play this year.
And this is his contract year, basically.
Then he's not getting re-signed.
We can't give him that fifth year option.
That's it. He's not getting re-signed.
So,
because again, right, we could talk about improvement all we want, but a small bump from last year is basically nothing. Let's be real. That's nothing. A small bump from his play last year is not improvement enough for us to say this man got to get re-signed and get big money. No, it's not. So the problem with it is, if we're all saying this now, we all know the answer is obviously no. Then let's not come out here with false expectation of what we expect, because I know y'all ain't expecting no 10 sacks. I know that. I mean, what are you expecting? 805 from this man?
It all depends on really where he plays, right? If he does play off the edge, the thing with Tyree is that if he plays off the edge, he's going to be a rotational piece with Max and Kuntz, which means he's going to get maybe, I'd say, 10 to 12 reps a game. And to get 10 to 12 reps a game, that means he's not going to get very many opportunities. And who knows, is that on passing downs? Is that on running downs? You don't really know. So he's not going to get very many opportunities. So if he's truly a rotational piece off the edge, that he needs to flash in a way that he is making a true impact, whether it be through the running game. I'd love to see him just make very disciplined plays, right? He stays home, maybe the play goes away, quarterback comes back, and he's there and has an impact on the play. Now, if he plays more on the interior, then he's got to be that run stopper. He's got to be able to help stuff the run and be a true impact in the running game. So, I think it really depends on where he plays.
See, Jalen Carter triggers people, right, when you say that name. And I get it. Maybe that's unrealistic. So let me give you another name. Is he even going to do what Jared Verse did for the Rams last year? How about that? Y'all answer me that. Is he going to do what Jared Verse did for the Rams in his rookie season? What I saw from Jared Verse in his rookie year is better than any clip, whatever you want to show me of Tyree, practice or game. I don't care. That's what we're talking about. He has to play like that. We're not talking about this man gets to play like a small piece in the rotation. It's going to work out. That's not how he has to play in order for us to make the playoffs as some as you want us to do. It's not going to work.
And that's the thing is, Tyree, it's not Tyree's fault that he was picked number 7, but unfortunately he was picked number 7. And so we're expecting that we try to get that type of value out of him. Exactly. And so, again, if he's a rotational piece off of the edge, he's really just going to have to, he's going to have to flash big time when he gets his opportunities. It's really that simple, so we'll kind of see. Again, I hope for the best, but the one thing that I really struggle with is, one, his lack of versatility, his lack of his ability to make just his repertoire, I guess, of moves off the edge. And at the same time, his motor. I don't see him having the mentality of being a good football player. That's what I've seen. So,
hey, man, 5'10", all we know is that we watched 2 years of Tyree football and ain't seen no improvement. That's what we do know, right? Yeah. That's all we do know. So now going off of that,
he said there's multiple teams interested in drafting Tyree.
I'm glad. I'll tell you right now. I'm sure these teams are thanking they lucky stars right now.
There's multiple teams that draft horribly as well. I don't know what to tell you. Like, just because there's multiple teams doesn't mean like we draft horribly. The Browns draft horribly. Like,
the best example I can give for what we can expect or hope that Tyree does is Rashawn Gary from the Packers, right? Because he had
Rashawn Gary too.
He had a nasty little start to his career, not like everybody expected. And I think last year he ended up putting all the pieces together and did his thing. So that's probably the closest example you can look and hope what Tyree does, right? Because Rashawn Gary ended up putting it together. So hopefully he does that, right? And maybe it does click, maybe it does, but it has to. That's the thing, y'all. It can't just be we hope. It has to, because if you really be honest with yourselves, right? We just talked about it. Booker is not that strong of a pass rusher, right? Adam Butler is the only pass rusher, but he's getting double teamed. We're hoping that Luwalu becomes a pass rusher, but we don't really know. As of right now, we're looking at Tyree to be that pass rush on the interior. He has to be. And we have to be confident that he can get in there and win his one-on-ones consistently. And as of right now, I don't think I'm confident in that. And I don't know about y'all, but y'all can let me know down below.
And if Tyree does move inside, I think Jonah Laulu is going to take that spot. But I think he's going to take that spot. And Tyree might find himself as a rotational piece on the interior defensive line. So if you're just a rotational piece, then you're not worth a second contract. So
thank you. And hey, look, that's the problem. I don't know how to pronounce your name, so I'm not gonna mess it up, of course. But that's the problem. Verse can play all 16 games because the talent was there. He's already producing. We are taking Tyree off the field because there are players that are performing better. That's the problem. That's the problem.
And the thing is, Tyree needs to earn 16 starts.
There you go.
Like, he's got to earn it, because as of right now, I don't see him as a starter at all on this on the interior defensive line or off the edge. So he's got to earn it.
And Dwayne, we're saying this because where do you think the pass rush is going to come from? Like, again, in Madden, it's fine if you have your two edges going for 20 sacks each. You know what I mean? But it's not going to happen like that. We need somebody in the interior to take the pressure off of Adam Butler and off of Max and Coons. As of right now, he has to be that guy because, again, we lost Christian Wilkins in that talent. There's nobody else. There's nobody else. There's no reinforcements coming to save his ass, coming to save our ass. This is what we have. So if you think that he can play like he did last year and be okay, then I don't know what to tell you, brother. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. Yeah. What team is he starting for? Hey, you know what? We get too negative in the weeds, man. We get too negative in the weeds because we get too real for it. So we'll go into, you know what? We can find some positivity in it because we could go ahead and bring up the depth chart for tomorrow and start talking about some guys that we might be a little excited for. But hey, don't get too excited now. There's still a couple things on this offensive line that we got to talk about, and that ain't all positive from my end. I will say that. That is definitely not all positive. But before we get into that, man, definitely want to give a shout out to everybody, man. Make sure you go on to our guy 805's channel, man. Make sure you guys are tapping in with his content, with the War Room, with his solo content, man, giving y'all some of the best Raider stuff that y'all can find out there, man. So appreciate him for joining us, man, and appreciate everybody for being here. Boom, 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 boom.
I see Mario's comment. Tyree's only good when I use him on Madden.
Hey. Come on, dog. You feel what I'm saying? Even then, I ain't even seen it. I ain't even seen it on Madden either. That's the damn problem. That's the sad part.
And the only thing I'll add is rundown when you're talking about where's the pressure going to come from. You know, I wouldn't be surprised is you get a guy like Jamal Adams, and they're saying that he's getting a lot of reps at the linebacker position. I could see us even with Devin White, you know, more faster kind of linebacker. I'm really curious as to and we might talk about, you know, when we talk about the preseason game tomorrow, I'm really curious on what type of defense Patrick Graham's going to be running, because if he's going to be blitzing a lot of linebackers, trying to create that pressure. I'm really curious to see just kind of what linebacker is going to play, the type of formations that he's going to use, because we ran a lot of different formations last year. And so I'm definitely curious to see just what kind of formations we're going to see during the next 3 preseason games.
Right. Definitely with that. You know, look, Tyree is one of the best players on this team. Hey, listen here, buddy. Listen here. I don't want to be negative, man, but goddamn, man, come on now. We know exactly. You know this ain't true. You know that ain't true. Stop, man. Stop. We can enjoy our team, but damn, man.
Are you saying that because we're relying on a ton of rookies and went bargain shopping this entire offseason? Is that why you're saying that?
Oh, no, man.
Like, that's just, I mean, yeah, he's better than Alex Kappa. I got you. You
Yeah,
got me there. You got me there. You got me there. Raider Nation 510. You got me there. I'm playing.
All right, but look, we got the depth chart, right? Apparently for what is this? This is unofficial, right? Yeah, unofficial.
Yeah.
So we got the depth chart, and of course we can start with the offensive side. We just talked a lot about the defense, so we can start with the offensive side. Any surprises to you that stood out to you on the offense?
I mean, obviously, it's the hard part is, obviously the instant go-to is the JPJ Alice Kappa. Not trying to solidify who's going to be the starter there. And so I don't know if I see a lot of surprises. I love seeing Jonte Thornton. He's getting the work, but not surprising. You got Colin Johnson that really hasn't shown anything, but with Jonte Thornton being that fourth rounder, you definitely want to get him that work.
Yeah.
But the one surprise is when we went live after when I went to the practice at Henderson, the one guy that actually stuck out. Now, mind you, they're not in pads, so I'm not saying he's better than Tyree, Raider Nation 510. I'm not saying this. But Zamir White, he just looked quicker.
Okay.
As soon as I came back from that practice, I went on live. Chris was there. And I think that was when the Christian Wilkins stuff dropped. But like something about him, and it was they were all the running backs and some of the receivers were returning kickoffs, and they were just kind of going through drills, right? And so all the running backs returning kickoffs and everything, and all of a sudden I see Zamir White get that ball, and he took off. I was like, holy shit! I've only seen Zamir White in the games. I went to a couple games last year, and he really didn't get a whole lot of work. But to see him in practice and kind of be in that dead sprint, I was like, damn, was he that fast? And so that's one thing that just kind of stuck out to me. And now you're kind of hearing the rumblings of he does look a little bit quicker. He does a little bit faster. Now, that's not going to fix your vision, but
no.
The hope is that maybe he does come into his own a little bit. And so having Zamir White and Raheem Mostert kind of sitting there, obviously they have Chris Collier there now. I really am curious just where Zamir White is going to play in this offense if he has a chance. Because I think this is his third. This is his contract year.
Yeah, third or fourth year. Honestly, and here's the positivity for y'all. I was very happy when I heard Pete describe kind of how he wants Zamir to run in his role, right? Downhill, power back, the hammer. That's exactly what he needs to be. I don't need him second guessing where he needs to run. None of that. You get him going downhill and let's go. Now, that was kind of what we wanted to do last year, and we still couldn't end up getting a yard. Who was that on? Was that more of the offensive line? Was it him? I know I did see him in certain situations. But I do like that role a little bit better where we're saying, all right, bro, he's the hammer. You know what I mean? We're not going to ask you to do anything else. When you're in there, we're running power. We're running through people's face. That's what I like. Because we can use Raheem Mostert to do the other things. And of course, Genty can do all around. So I'm actually happy that they're using him that way. And I still think they'll keep Sincere McCormick. Honestly, I still think they'll keep Sincere, and that'll be the four. They'll have Genty, Zamir, Raheem, and then Sincere, and I think they'll go with that. But I like him being there for sure. I know some people were looking at Trey, right? They were like, okay, he's on the outside. I actually think Trey is going to have a sneaky good year this year. I think Trey is going to have a sneaky good year this year.
So I've said it, multiple times just in the past is one, you got yourself a solid quarterback, right? Geno Smith is going to be able to kind of get him the ball. But last year, Trey Tucker moved around so much. All of a sudden, Devonta Adams is having issues, and now he exits the team randomly. And so now you take Trey Tucker and you put him at the number 2. And then if you guys remember when Devonta Adams went out, that's when Jacoby Myers was out for 2 games.
Yep.
So he was out for it was 1 or 2 games, I forget, but he was out for a couple games. And then they had to force Trey Tucker to kind of get in here and play out of position. And the thing is when you have to switch around receiver positions, going from the slot from the number 1 receiver to the number 2 receiver, it's like a whole nother playbook. You're running all different routes based on what the play call is. And now Trey Tucker's kind of being forced to play a position that he may not be comfortable with or not truly fit for that position. And now that we got Deontay Thornton, now we got Jakobi Meyers, and now obviously with Brock Bowers, I think Chip Kelly can use Trey Tucker in a way that he truly feels would fit him properly. And this will give Trey Tucker the best chance at finally seeing what he can do.
Yep. 100%, man. Hey, and shout out to my guy, LV Raider as well, brought up his comment, but he was at the practice. You know, he said Geno looks dialed in. Hey, the Saturday mock game y'all went to, the man threw like 5 damn touchdowns. So he definitely seemed like he was locked in for sure. So I'm excited to see that. But Trey Tucker, man, I think, you know, finally he's going to have a good shake with a good quarterback and be able to show some consistency. Not only him, Michael Mayer. Every day you hear something new about Michael Mayer making a play and doing these things. So I think he's going to have a good year as well, man. And we're going to get a lot of good things from these tight ends. So I'm excited for the offense. Honestly, I think they're going to be better than defense. We're going to finally have an exciting offense, I feel like.
Yeah, and I see the comment from Joseph C saying Trey Tucker's not a slot receiver. To tell me that he can't be a slot receiver, I mean, that's where he was technically supposed to play last year with Devontae Adams and Jakobi Meyers. You know, he is more that slot receiver. He is that fast, quick guy that can get from one end of the field to the other. You want to run crossers with him. You want to run drag routes. You want to be able, even when you run crossers and drags, you could double move guys, right? I mean, it's like he is that guy that could be the guy that could take the top off the defense. And you like to run that in the slot. And so to say that he isn't a slot, I'm not sure if I agree. You could, without question, run him in the slot and get him across the field very quickly because he's got that speed. Yeah, and that's where you could definitely utilize him. So, to me, I think, you know, and even if you go back and watch his Texas Tech days, Cincinnati days, the hard part is he was so good at Cincinnati. He was the only receiver. They moved him all over the place. They did move him outside because he was basically their number one target. And so they moved him in so many different areas and did play him outside. So he might be used to the outside because of college, but you can move him and play him in the slot. But without
play
question.
Him anywhere. I've been happy to see, you know, some resurgence of Besh. You know, when I went to the practice the other day, he made a play and I was asking the whole offseason, I'm like, where's Besh? But you know, he's kind of, I think it's more of a circumstance where Jakobi and Trey are playing well. And Dante fits kind of a mold of receiver that they need on that side, where I think he's not really going to get playing time to start it off. But I've seen him make some plays. I'm not really worried about Besh. I've actually seen him play well at the practices.
Yeah, I just want to know if Jack Besh is going to consistently be able to create separation. That's
the outside is where I worry. If they're playing him consistently outside, that's my question. If he's a slot dude, that's not really a. I think he can get open a little bit better in the slot. He can do a little bit better. That's what he did in college anyway. But on the outside is my question mark. Now he has been making plays, but the plays I've seen him make are all 50-50 contested catches. You know what I mean? It's not much separation in between those.
And he could just be great at 50-50, balls. So that's fine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so maybe he doesn't need that type of separation. I'd like to see him be able to create that. Especially if he is going to be playing in the slot. But I kind of have my take on Jack Besh but that's for another lot. But one thing that I do want to add, and just to kind of go back to the Zamir White, when you look at the shuffling of the offensive line, and JPJ goes to guard, Jordan Meredith goes to center. I think Jordan Meredith. I'm a huge fan of Jordan Meredith.
100%. I thought he'd be starting, but not at center.
I wanted him to be the starter last offseason. After our preseason game against the Cowboys, I went on my channel, posted a video saying he needs to be the starter without question. And so he did extremely well last year. I'm not sure how he'll be at the starter as a center, but Jordan Meredith, because he's not very big, he is very technically sound. And so as a center, I do think he could be a good center because his technique is extremely good. You move JPJ, now JPJ could potentially be the mauler, right? He could be that guy that can, and I think that's also why we saw Theron Mumford get tried out at the guard position, because Theron Mumford is a very big offensive tackle, a big body, 6 foot, I think he's 6'5", 320, I believe. He's a guy that you put him down at the guard, he can just maul people, right? Now, with these moves, in my opinion, I think Chip Kelly's going to lean more on a power run scheme. And I think that's where Genty is going to thrive.
Oh, yeah.
He's in a very good power run scheme. 100%. He'll mix up some zone here and there, but I think he's going to lean on the power run scheme. I think that's why you move JPJ to the guard position. But that's where I think Zamir White could also thrive, where he's not trying to, delay to the line of scrimmage, find that one cut and go. He's basically, I'm getting downhill right away. Yeah. And so I think that's why Zamir White might be able to find some success in Chip Kelly's offense, because if he does lean more on a power run scheme, I think that does help out Zamir White a little bit.
Now you can, of course, if you disagree, we'd love to know it. But I feel that personally, they had to move JPJ over to guard because they didn't figure it out. Yeah, our guards are trash. Like our guards are ass. Like, I don't think we have anything. Like, if you're looking, I don't know, because we all questioned Kappa. We all questioned the signing of it immediately anyway. So
100%.
I wouldn't be surprised if he got into camp and they were like, oh, okay, yeah, he's probably actually trash. So we got to cover our ass, because in the spring, it was Kappa who was penciled in as the right guard the whole time until we got, until we got into the camp and got physical. And then all of a sudden, now JPJ's there. All of a sudden, now we got to start shuffling things around. I don't know. Maybe you could tell me. Has Meredith played center ever? I don't know, high school.
I don't think he has. I don't know about high school, but I don't believe he played any center in college. I think this is his first go at the center position. That's why I have question marks.
That's scary to me. That's scary to me. We're talking about your first ever snaps of center in the NFL. It's going to be some hiccups, probably. It's going to be some hiccups. Really, I don't doubt that JPJ can do the job, but I know he's more confident and comfortable at center. My thing is, it's not like we didn't see that combination last year. Last year, we saw JPJ at center. We saw Meredith at right guard, and it looked good. So I don't know. It could be a genius move, right? It could be if it works out. But then it's like a lot of these factors are scaring me. You're talking about a first-time offensive line coach, right? First-time center. The guy who thought he was going to be a center, now he's a guard, and we know he's more comfortable at center. And the left guard that, to me, ain't even all the way. My eyes ain't off him either. I know the left guard, nobody looking at him, but I'm looking at the left guard heavily too, because it's year 4, dog. What we doing? So I got to see what goes on with Parham. The interior is shaky to me. I don't know.
And that's where, I think Caleb Rogers has a good chance at really battling at that guard spot. I do like him, and I do like seeing them now shifting Caleb Rogers behind Dylan Parham. So that's the battle. I do like that. But I think that in my opinion, I think there's a chance that they just missed. I do think that they possibly brought in Alice Kappa thinking he was going to be a potential starter, and the writing's on the wall. And that's why you kind of shake up this offensive line a little bit. I don't like the jumping around. One thing with an offensive line, you have to have continuity. They got to be able to work together as a unit. And when you keep shuffling guys around, it just doesn't work. And so, but you definitely want to see your early draft picks get some work in. And I think Caleb Rogers will battle. But my thing is I think the guy that I think that they possibly missed on is Charles Grant. You signed Colton Miller to a 3-year extension. That puts Charles Grant into his last year of his rookie contract.
That tells me everything I need to know, 805. That told me everything I needed to know.
Exactly. Right? That tells me that they think Charles Grant may not be the guy. And so obviously got DJ Glaze. We still, DJ Glaze, second year. We'll see if he can continue what he did last year. He looked very good last year. We'll see if he regresses or if he improves. If he improves, great. But yeah, that's the offensive line is where I am, because I'm not a big fan of Dylan Parham. Now, this is a contract year, and we know what players do in contract years.
Exactly.
We just don't know.
Exactly. But now we want to get to 332 in the contract year. All of a sudden.
If we do get the Dylan Parham we saw last year, we're going to be in trouble, and Caleb Rogers will most likely find himself in the starting lineup at some point, middle of the season.
Look, I'm with you, 805. When we drafted Rodgers, I was happy. And when we found out he was a guard, I was happy because not only is a bigger body, but he's got that nasty to him. You know what I mean? He's got that nasty to him that kind of matches that JPJ nasty that I like. And I kind of want him out there, man. I feel like he'll get some snaps as it goes. As the season progresses, I feel like we'll see him at some point. He will be out there. What's getting on my nerves, 805, is that we're doing all this shuffling and it's all these question marks. And what did you just draft 6 overall? That's where I'm starting to get mad because now we're not even. I don't even think people think about this. We're doing all this shuffling and moving around, and we just drafted a position where all of this shuffling is important. It's very important to the dude that we just drafted. And if we don't have continuity going into week 1, and we don't have a solid foundation for this O-line, we're not going to see the Genty that all of us want to see. It's just not going to happen. And for all intents and purposes, our first 3 weeks, it ain't no cakewalk. It ain't no circus. These first 3 weeks, these D-lines are real. They're real these first 3 weeks, dog. You got the Patriots with their D-line. They're not joking around. They have a solid D-line. Chargers got a solid D-line. The Commanders got a solid D-line. You go along the list. We got D-lines we playing. So we got to be stout. We got to be ready.
And look, obviously it's preseason and like I think Ty said, this is the time to figure it out. But here's the thing. What also really hurts is that we have every single one of these offensive linemen, it's a brand new system to them. It's not like we have a third year offensive line coach that's been with this offensive line. We're teaching the same scheme, so 3 out of the 5 already know the scheme. They already know what's expected of them. They already know the play calls. They know the terminology. No, this is brand new to every single one of them. So until we figure this out, if it takes us the 3rd game to figure this all out, that doesn't
too
bode
late.
well. So
that's too late. That's way too late.
I think they know who their starters are now. I'll be honest. I do think it's going to be DJ Glaze, JPJ, Jordan Meredith, Dylan Parham, Colton Miller. I think that's who the starters are, and that's who they're going to roll with. That's fine. But to me, all the shuffling just kind of tells me that there's a good chance that they missed on a couple of the draft.
Yeah, some of these dudes ain't what they thought. You know what I mean? Because we just got to read tea leaves, y'all. I mean, we're looking at look at all the other teams around the league. What other teams are shuffling their O-line around like this? They're not. They're set already. They already got guys, right? You see guys doing this when they're still trying to figure things out. And that's what we're doing with a lot of positions.
And if we miss, then here's my thing, and this is the only reason why I'm a big building the trenches guy. But I'll tell you right now, if we missed on the guard position, if Dylan Parham ends up being trash, Caleb Rogers comes in and look, he may not do great, all right? But at the same time, he's a rookie. Obviously, we'll let him develop. That's fine. But you also did draft Ashton Genty, number 6. You want to give him every asset to find success. What you did was you brought in Alice Kappa as the 2nd highest paid free agent in the offseason, which massive miss. Everybody could have told you that. And you traded back twice in the 2nd round when there was plenty of guards to go after. You traded back and we traded our first trade back with Miami. They picked up the guard I wanted in the 2nd round, which was Jonas Savanea out of Arizona.
Arizona. Yep.
I wanted that guy. I wanted to pick him up. And then we traded back again, and we missed out on my 2nd favorite guard, which was Wyatt Millam out of West Virginia. And so if they missed completely with Dylan Parham, and then it's to me, it's just like, you had your opportunity. You didn't bring in I wanted them to prioritize the offensive guard position in free agency. I wanted them to bring in a damn good veteran offensive guard, keep JPJ at center, solidify a veteran offensive guard in between JPJ and DJ Glaze, and teach these young players how to grow up in the league, help with their development. And we got Alice Kappa. So
look, and I get you. I can see how you could say he's not trash, and I can get that. To me, he's average though. But average so far from him, what we've seen is not good enough. From what we need, especially. And this, it's starting to worry me, 805. And we were preaching this before the draft. You included, and I think Chris and Severe and a lot of people, but I can smell it already, man. We're having all this O-line shuffling, and we just drafted this man 6 overall. I can smell the excuses coming about why he can't run and why he can't do X, Y, and Z. And I can see the frustration. I can see it building already where it's like, and I'm not going to lie to you, 805, when I went to my practice, I didn't see that much room to run like how he was used to, or for me to see that superpower, which is that contact balance in the open field. Yeah. I didn't see enough. And this is not him. It's more the offensive line. They're not opening the holes enough for me to see that. Now, I don't know what you saw on Saturday. I mean, maybe you saw something different, but for me, I didn't see that at all.
No, and the hard part was they didn't run the ball a lot. They actually tried to get Ashton Genty in the passing game quite a bit.
Right,
so
right.
There wasn't a whole lot of running going on, to be dead honest with you. And you almost saw a little bit more running with Zamir White. I know. So, yeah, I didn't see a whole lot. There wasn't a lot of holes to run through at all. Right. But anytime that our running backs really got involved, they're going out in pass routes. So,
and see, it's not really Genty's talent. It's not about his talent. It's more about the offensive line creating the opportunities for him to show what he is, what the superpower is. Again, I continue to say it, contact balance, man. I mean, we know when he gets into the open field, he's hard to bring down and hard to do that. But we're not going to see that if he's already got 2-3 dudes in the hole after he takes a step. Like that. We're not going to see that. But we'll see tomorrow. I mean, hopefully, I don't know. Are the starters live? Would you know that?
Pete Carroll said the starters are live, but at the end of the day, that could mean anything. I mean,
exactly. We don't know.
You might see a ton of starters. You might not. Again, I didn't do enough research to go back and see what Pete Carroll's done in the past as it relates to preseason and how he plays his starters or his rookies. So I just didn't go back, but I'd like to see. Yeah. I'd like to see some of these starters get some playing time, especially some of these rookies. I want to see some of the rookies just kind of get some live action against, real opponents, and just kind of give them a taste of it and see just kind of how they're progressing.
I agree. I mean, last but not least on the offense, we'll end on a positive note. I love what I'm hearing about Geno Smith. I love what I'm hearing, man. I mean, It finally sounds like we have competent quarterback play, and that's all we can ask for. So, I mean, and we'll let the chips fall where they may. But, I mean, that's all we needed, competent quarterback play for a foundation to jump off of. And right now, I'm hearing all positives for Geno.
Yeah. I think, the one thing that Geno, I think, brings to the table, which can be a little underappreciated, is I think he just seems like a really good locker room guy. He's a guy that I think these offensive players, even the defense, right, that can rally around him. I mean, that's one of the hardest things to do as a defense. I mainly was a defensive coordinator, but I played defense basically my entire life, after high school and all that stuff. And the thing is that when you believe in the offense, when you believe in the players, and you believe in what that offense is trying to do, you're even if you have a bad offensive game, that defense can continue to be motivated. That even if there's multiple 3 and outs, you're going to be able to go back on that field and know you have confidence that at the end of the game they might be able to finish. And Geno Smith, I think, just kind of gives that vibe, where the offense, the players around it, I think that they buy into what Geno Smith is willing to do out there. And so I like it. I do like that, with the fact that, Geno Smith is one of those quarterbacks that he's got potential to be an 8, 9, 10 ranked quarterback.
I agree.
He can sneak his way into the top 10. Can he win you a Super Bowl? I don't know. But at the same time, I think he can be, a bottom top 10 type of quarterback. And if that's what we get, then I think that, we got ourselves
we had that in a long time, 805. I don't remember the last time I seen a top 10 quarterback or top 10 quarterback play, or even fringe. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't remember the last time I seen it. So that's better than what we've had so far, because last year was bottom 10 quarterback play. That wasn't even close to the middle. Years. Yeah. Oh, rough is an understatement for sure. We can quickly go through the defense real quick. Get ready to get on out of here. But, no surprises, really. Everybody's where they're supposed to be. Max is there. Luwalu is where he's supposed to be, which, we got to hope he takes that step. I love what I'm hearing from him, but he's the guy that's got to take a leap. Adam Butler, Kuntz. And you know what? Well, some more positivity injected into it. What was very quickly looked at as one of the worst position groups on the team, which was the linebackers, has quickly become one of the better ones on the defense and on the team. I'm not gonna lie, I love the group as a whole of the linebackers now. I feel like you have a skill set that of everything, really. You got the pass coverage, you got the run defense, you got the blitzing, you got it all, really. So I actually love our linebacker room looking at it now. And then we got our corners, which are a lot of question marks. So there's that, man. I mean, what stands out to you?
To me, with the linebackers, again, it kind of goes back to I'm really interested to see what type of defensive front that Patrick Graham's going to run. Now, it's preseason, right? So the coaching staff, you're not going to throw all the bells and whistles out there. You're not going to see all the blitz packages and stuff like that. And look, even on the offensive side, you're not going to see, plays that you would see in the regular season, right?
Right.
There's going to be 40 plus of these guys being cut, and they're going to go on to potentially other teams, and so you're not going to give away too much. And so I just want to see what defensive fronts Patrick Graham's going to come out in. And that might tell us what kind of pressure he might bring, because you got guys. Again, you have guys like Devin White.
Mm-hmm.
You have guys like Jamal Adams that's coming over. And even outside of that, you got guys like Jeremy Chin that can come off the edge, that can blitz, that can bring pressure. So, I'm definitely curious to see on the defensive side just kind of how some of these linebackers are going to be used, and how Patrick Graham's going to line these guys up. Because last year, Patrick Graham actually came out quite a bit with the 5-man front, and he'd take a guy like Divine Diablo, just an added linebacker, and use him just as like an overhang linebacker or even just an edge.
Exactly.
Like an edge.
And you could kind of do that here a little bit. I mean, you have Devin White who can do that. I see Gabe Go asked which can cover. I'm looking at Pratt. That's really who it is. You don't need all 3 linebackers that can cover. I mean, you got to have at least one. And he's that guy. But then when you hear the reports of, Jeremy Chin coming down below in the box, Jamal Adams coming down and covering running backs, doing those type of things. They have, it looks like they have a plan in place to, have something solidified in the second level as far as coverage and maybe how we can have a plan to attack these tight ends and running backs. I do like Pratt and Adams being in that role, though. I do like that.
Yeah, and the one thing I definitely want to see with this defense is, especially with the linebackers, and I mean, you could put the DNs in this as well with Max and Kuntz, but I want to see how fast we look as a unit. In this preseason, because you got guys like Jamal Adams, Devin White, even Jermaine Pratt. He's got some wheels. I mean, Jermaine Pratt was a former safety in college, and so he's a converted safety. And so, like the old Al Davis said, speed kills, right? And so, I'm not going obviously to the Seattle game tomorrow, but I'm going to go to the 49er game. So I'll be at the preseason 49er game. And if anybody has coached before, sometimes what you see on TV looks very different in
100%, 100%.
And I want to see just how these linebackers fly, just how fast this defense looks if these guys are all playing together and as a unit. Because, you're bringing these more athletic guys. Again, like I said, the Devin Whites, the Jamal Adams, even Jermaine Pratt, even having Jeremy Chin closer to the line of scrimmage. Man, if these guys can fly sideline to sideline, and if they are fast and they're quick, it could be a dangerous defense. That's definitely what I want to look out for.
That now when we're talking about pressure, this can help with the pressure if they're able to fly around, blitz, with Devin White and Jamal Adams. So that helps, not in getting pressure to the quarterback. So I am very excited to see our linebackers. They quickly turned into one of the better position groups, and I was definitely complaining about them a couple weeks ago. Now you look at the corners. We talked about that at length. It's shaky. You got Darian Porter, you got Eric Stokes, Darnay Holmes. It's a very shaky group. Safeties, not so much for me. I like our safeties a lot more than I like our DBs. I'll tell you that right now. I'm very more confident in Jeremy Chin and Palomau than I am with, the 3 that's there. I actually think Palomau is going to have himself a year. I think he's going to have himself a quote-unquote breakout year.
He was one of the free agents I wanted us to bring back.
Yeah.
I didn't bring out the bottle because of Adam Butler, like I did. Not for Paul him out, but with Paul him out, man, I was excited to see us bring him back. And so I do. I think he could have a pretty good year this year.
I'm excited for him, man. I've been singing his praise since before he started. So I'm glad to see him get his start and roll now, and I think he's gonna do his thing. It is Chris Smith season.
Hope so.
Yeah, I mean, we heard Pete say it the other day. Lonnie Johnson got hurt at the practice I think you went to, actually. And I think he got hurt there. And so now, Chris Smith is thrust into the role to be the first safety off the bench and all the extra. I'm excited to see it. It's year 3. I don't know what to expect from him, though, because it is year 3, I think, and it's like damn near regime 3, and nobody has like started him yet. So I don't know.
Yeah, and the thing is now with Lonnie Johnson Jr. going down, hard part is just does he potentially stay? Because we just lost somebody. Is he good enough to actually stay? I just don't know. But my thing with the corners, obviously, we just want to see how the corners do in general. But one thing I want to pay attention to, and I'll probably see it more at the 49er game when I go, is our corners are tall, they're lengthy. They're the prototypical Pete Carroll type of corners. I just want to see just how well they do with kind of the deep ball and using the length to their advantage. I really want to see how well they do that, especially like if D-Cam gets in there. How big do they actually look on the field? Our quarterback's afraid to kind of go over top of them. And so I definitely want to see do these, like it's like with Richard Sherman back in the day, right? Richard Sherman did a very good job of, you really couldn't get the ball over top on him,
right?
In his good years, obviously towards the tail end, you can get him a little bit, but just how opposing are these corners and how big do they look, especially Isaiah Paul-Mao, Jeremy Chin, these big guys. How afraid are quarterbacks to really go after them over the top, because we do got 6'2", 6'3" corners sitting out there. I just want to see just how well they do with that size and length.
I'm with you on that. I think, that's probably why he has his preferences. More than likely, that's why Pete has his preferences. In order to help the, not have explosive plays on the defense. But we will see, man. I mean, tomorrow is the day. So I am ready, man. I appreciate you for joining me and give us an hour 30 of your time, man. This was a dope combo. I'm glad we did this before the game, man, so we can kind of, chop ball before the game ends up happening.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate you letting me come on, man. It was a good time. Anytime I can come on and kind of support everybody else that's in this world, man, I try to do it when I can.
Yeah, 100%, man. And of course, we got to connect it on the War Room one time, man. I got to get back on there one time with all my guys and the fellas, man. Talk ball with y'all. I appreciate everybody up in the comment section for showing up and supporting your fellas here today, man. Of course, we got Raider Ball, but make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button, man. Not only on my channel, y'all know what it is, man. We have a guest. Show them that Raider Rundown love, man. Go over here and hit that subscribe and like button on 805's channel as well if you're not already subscribed, man. So we got the game tomorrow. You want to let the folks know you got anything going for the game? You got anything that you got planned for tomorrow?
Man, I have been asked a handful of times from people, are you going to go live for the game, or are you going to go live? And I'll tell you, I can't, unfortunately. I spend all my time playing and rewinding, and that's just kind of how I watch the game. Unfortunately, my kids know you leave me alone, and when the game's done, I'm probably still beginning a third quarter because I'm rewinding and just watching and stuff like that. And so I just cannot watch it live. I struggle with that. So I'm gonna watch it. I'll post a video most likely on just my takes of it. Maybe I'll go live after. That remains to be seen. But I'll definitely post a video just kind of giving my reaction, kind of my winners and losers of it, and just kind of my takes off the game.
I'm with you, man. I struggle with watch parties, man, because I'm so tuned in. I'm locked in. So it's like I can't get to the chat and do the watch party at the same time. It's too hard for me.
There's no way.
Now, preseason, I'm a little lax for sure. But if it's like a regular season game, I'm not saying anything. I'm watching the game. So it's going to be hard for me. But what y'all do have tomorrow, right? Y'all got blunts and breakdowns for me tomorrow with our guy Mike. we're breaking down Thomas Booker film. So make sure y'all tune in for that tomorrow. Y'all want to watch Thomas Booker, our newly acquired DT, tap in. And then, of course, we're doing I got to see what time it's going to be, but we might be doing something with Raider Alex tomorrow, man. A little pregame, postgame, live, just discussing the game and what we going to see tomorrow. So it should be a dope time. If anything, you're going to see me and Papa run down tomorrow for sure. In some way, form, or capacity, you're going to see me because we're going to be at the crib chilling, watching the game. So you already know what it is. Make sure you guys tapping in. Like I said, tap in with 805. Fire show with our guys at the War Room. Of course, man, just fire content in general. And then, show that love. But until then, man, anything else you want to say to the people before we go on out here?
No, man, appreciate it, man. Hey, everybody enjoy it, man. Football's finally here. I kind of said it a couple weeks ago, man. Once training camp starts, it feels like before you know it, game's going to be here. And so enjoy it, you know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, let's hope Pete Carroll can kind of turn this thing around. And we hope, Pete Carroll is without question the best coach we've had in a very long time.
Yeah.
So, we're all crossed our fingers. He wraps this thing around and we get back in that winning column. So I'm excited.
That's all we want, man. That's all I want. Just to have a good season. Come on here, feel good shit. Hey, we're gonna celebrate together, y'all. Y'all know what it is. We ended up doing what we supposed to do. But until then, till tomorrow, right? Until we get that Raiders football, y'all know what we say around here, man. We keep it authentic from the clouds to the ground on the Raider Rundown. Be safe. I love y'all, and I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow for the game, man. We out. Peace.